Hi, everybody. My name's John Brown, and I'm from Portland. This is all part of my intro that I just gave. And I'm here to talk to you guys about art and sort of my journey through CSS art, which I've taken relatively recently. So what we're going to do today is talk about creative coding. This goes by a lot of different names: creative coding, code art, expressive programming. Let's see what else we got. Generative art, visual mathing. Basically, it's the idea of making art with code using math, and it's sort of becoming really a new field in CSS. And so I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this. When we talk about art, you want to make sure the person talking to you is qualified. So I want to assure you that I am qualified, like all great artists. I'm an art school dropout, 2 times. I did just pay off all my student loans about a month ago, so that's pretty great. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing today is a lot of eye candy. Stuff that looks like this. Stuff that looks like this. This is not my clicker. I'm not used to it. Stuff that looks like this. Stuff that you saw from Gregor is very similar in the same vein of just like exploring CSS and just trying different things and sort of seeing what can be visually represented. It's not necessarily meant to do anything except be interesting. So there's going to be a lot of eye candy. It's going to be basically 0 usable code that you guys can take back to your jobs and say, like, this was worth it. But there will be lots of usable ideas, hopefully. It'll spark some things in your brain and maybe some conversations with some other people here. And that's what it's all about. Conferences is communication and meeting new people and the community that comes out of that. So why make art? Why make art with code? Well, there's a lot of different reasons. My favorite is that learning is just more fun when you're making art. If you have to learn how a box shadow works, isn't it more fun to do it in the context of making something that's really pretty and visually interesting as opposed to filling a requirement for a PSD for a website at work? Way more fun to learn it on your own. Is also feeding into that is this freedom that you get to do whatever you want. If you want to explore box shadows in CSS, or you want to explore the animations, or Z-depth, or Z-index, or whatever you want to do, you get to do that freedom because the art is yours. And also, there's different problems to solve with art. If you're going to put a bunch of things together and make them move, it's how's the transition moving, and is the line weight that I'm using good, or should I speed it up or slow it down? So these are things we don't normally think about when we're just trying to, again, match PSDs or make a form accessibility functional or accessibility functional. Those are different problems, and so using art side of your brain is a really fun way to explore different, the other side of your brain that you're not using all the time. So, I'm going to start from the top. What I'm going to be talking to you guys about is the 100-Day Project. Has anybody here heard of the 100 Days Project? Yeah. El Luna started this idea of doing something every day for 100 days, small or large. Learn to play guitar or talk to a stranger. Do something fun, do something interesting that challenges yourself every day. Get up and do it. No matter how you feel, get into the habit. So, I wanted to do 100 pure CSS animations. What I did was 82 pure CSS animations. Obviously, there are days where I just could not find the time between work or travel or whatever it is. So I'm really proud of sticking through the whole 100 days, but I did miss a few days in there. So the genesis of this idea comes from a project that I worked on last year, which was the Google I/O 2014 experiment. And I shouldn't have put this on the other page. This is a project I was the lead developer on for Instrument, where I work, an independent digital creative agency in Portland, Oregon. And we did this whole experiment for Google.com for the I/O conference, where this is all done in CSS 3D. Each one of these are elements on a stage, and they move around in 3D space. And the reason we did this is because we want to make something really interesting that would be available for mobile. Because WebGL in 2014 wasn't really available on phones, except for a few Androids. We needed to do something that was really, really fun, but could work on mobile. CSS3D to the rescue. Puts it all on the GPU. It runs so well. You can still go check out this experiment now. And it runs on your phone as well as it does on a laptop. So, just closed all my browser. That was a terrible idea. It's OK. I got a shortcut. I don't have a shortcut. If anybody in here uses Divi, I tried to pay for it this morning because I love it. But then it stopped working, so I have to do a bunch of weird movement really quick. So let's get through all this. I'm going to skip it. Where are we at? Here. Another really cool thing while we were doing this, I got a lot of really good inspiration from Anna Tudor, who gave a talk at CSSConf in 2013. Crazy math, just like Gregor showed us, all in 3D, how to do really cool polyhedrons and really fun stuff. If you're interested in what I'm showing you, or interested in the math side of CSS and mash up with art, you should absolutely check out her talk. And while you're browsing around on YouTube, you can also check out the talk that I gave the next year that goes on into all about the I/O experiment that I just showed you. It's really cool. Really cool. It's open source, like the framework we built, and you guys can check it out. So here's some ground rules for this project, this 100-day project that I did. 1, obviously no JavaScript. 2, this is harder, no SVGs. It has to move. I really like motion, and so I wanted to make something that would usually loop over time that you could throw up on a screen and just watch and just enjoy and consume it. There was another really interesting piece, like a constraint that I set myself, which was every day I would only have one div, or I would add another div to the list. They wouldn't nest. I'd have no IDs and no classes. I'd have to use nth child and figure things out mathematically on a chain. And the reason why I put these constraints on myself is because when you're making art, you're essentially looking at a blank canvas. And if you don't have any direction, that canvas can be really intimidating. If you think about all the different art that you've ever seen in your life and you could do all that, that's terrifying. So you want to figure out some constraints to put on yourself to work in a direction. So this was mine that I put on myself. So day 1, I had 1 div. Day 2, I had 2 divs. Day 3, I had 3 divs. Day 100, I had 100 divs. Complicated to keep track of, so use a little bit of Haml. Really, this made my life a lot better on day 7 when I realized I could do this. And a whole lot of Sass, a lot of math. Sass is amazing, gives you sine and cosine, and you can do for loops for really fun animations. Really, really amazing. Obviously would not have been possible with Sass. So let's get to it. That's a lot of preamble for the actual main event. 100 days of indivs. So I did this. I blew up my social media forever, every day posting one of these. Most of them were basically from scratch, but they were all interesting, and some things iterated and grew on each other. Some days were geometric, and they had really solid lines in the state. Sometimes they got a little weird, a little bit more organic. Again, these are all CSS 3D, and they sort of break the idea of what is the geometry that we're sort of used to, the quad that we're used to. Some of them just got real weird. Some days I just didn't know what to do, so I just started throwing things at a wall. But I really like the output for some of those. Some days were kind of crap. It's day 2, give me a break. They can't all be winners. But the point is just to do it every day, no matter how you feel. Just put it up there and make something that's fun and interesting and get into the rhythm. I don't have my thing that tells me what the next slide is, so I'm worried. 100 days of, okay, let's give a status report. So, 100 days of indivs. Was it fun? Totally fun. Totally fun. Would I do it again? No. At least not with this particular constraint that I gave myself. I started doing some really fun 3D things, but realized I was basically recreating matrix geometry just because things couldn't be nested and preserved 3D. So I ran into some issues. There were things that I wanted to explore that I really couldn't. So I wouldn't do this particular thing again, but I'll definitely still be making CSS animations. And should you try it? That's the real question. Maybe. I don't really know. So there's a lot of really good reasons to make art in CSS, and I want to go over those. I think everybody in this room should be making art. But some people lean more towards JavaScript because that's what they're more comfortable with. Some people lean more towards CSS. We're going to talk about CSS because it's Cascadia CSS here. So reasons to make art in CSS in particular. You already know it. You're already using it every day. So you sort of understand the syntax. You can do it anywhere. This is fun. Like if you want to do Canvas artwork with JavaScript, you sort of have to make a Canvas instance, make a new JavaScript file. You have to sort of like break whatever you're doing. But if you want to make art with CSS, you can literally just be sitting at work, styling a form, and be like, you know what, I'm going to make this thing bounce. I'm going to make this thing into like crazy rainbows. So you can just like at any moment just break out of what you're doing and just make some art. And then, I mean, obviously don't check that into Git, but it's definitely something you can do. And also, CSS is discrete objects. So if anybody in here has done anything with JavaScript and the canvas or processing or like most ways of making art with code, you're redrawing the square on every frame. So you like draw a square, and then you say like keep track of that x, y, and then like now here's the center point. Draw another square. Draw another square, and it sort of like layers those things on top of each other. And so you have to control, the buffer and clearing the canvas, and it can be really messy, and there's a lot of boilerplate. But with CSS, you just transition and you just move it around. So there are these discrete objects that can live in the canvas that you're making with CSS. So it's super powerful, and it prevents a lot of cleanup. And it's got, that should say decent. It has pretty decent 3D. You can nest things. You saw, again, Gregor, I'm mentioning Gregor more than I'm mentioning myself, but you can see that you can nest things and make them in 3D and make them really, really cool. And it kicks it onto the GPU, so it makes it super performant. And you can look at it on mobile, and you can not worry about chugging your computer down in a lot of ways. So that's really great. And also, you get to learn your craft in a really interesting way, like figuring out, like reading the docs of like a gradient and figuring out how to animate it, or like what you can really do to push it in a different direction is a great way to learn the things that you already know. And that way, when somebody comes to you with a question, you can be like, oh, I know exactly how that works because I broke it earlier, and now here's how to actually like make it work. Also, CSS is really interesting. Like a lot of people, when I've talked to them about it, they're like, what are you going to do with CSS? Like, it's just going to live in the browser and that's it. I actually have an example where it transcended a medium. I was in the middle of this project, and I got invited to be a part of an art show that had oil paintings, and it had sculptures, and it had like 3D printed pieces, and all this really great stuff. And then I made a piece with CSS and put it in there. It was the only generative art piece in there. It was the only piece of CSS artwork. It was in a gallery show. It got put into a book. It was really, really great. And there's this moment for me where I realized, no matter what you're doing with your code and mashing it up with art, there's always an output for it, whether it's a projection on a screen or on a wall or just on your screen or a print medium. There's always a reason to making art that can transcend just you sitting in a room and just watching it. More than anything, you can put it on the internet and share it with 7 billion people. That's really great. So one thing to note while I was working on my CSS stuff, if you go check it out, my slides are up online. You can go check out all the things that I'm going to show you that I've shown you already. If you do go to check it out, make sure that you notice that I did browser testing and optimization. I think this graph is misleading. There it is. So, sorry, it was black. It was at the very bottom. I should have made that different color. Basically, I explored chose to use freedom of exploration. I didn't do any cross-browser testing. If it worked in Chrome, awesome. I didn't worry about IE 5 through 11. Optimization. My computer hates me now. It was like so hot so many days where I was just like pushing all these things around. If it worked for me on my really fancy laptop, that was really honestly good enough for me. It was all about just doing something every day for 30 minutes and hoping the rest of the world could see it. But I understand that some people may not have, and that's just a part of like creating. So I'm going to get you to the 3 C's of creative coding. Anybody that knows me knows I love alliteration, so we're going to get to it right now. 3 C's of creative coding. Copy, change, and chance. So copy. Any artist you talk to is going to say how they get started was copying somebody else. whether it's like an actual artist or taking a piece of paper and tracing the Sunday comics. If you want to get into art, just know that you can't just be an artist. Or you can't just be an artist. But you have to start at the bottom and sort of work your way up and learn the craft. And that's totally fine. Copying is totally fine. Changing, the idea of finding something you like and never settling, always pushing it. Again, look at Gregor with all his fractals. He discovered it. He's like, this is amazing. I'm pushing it in all these different ways. Keep pushing and changing and making things that are new and different and pushing yourself. And also the chance. Happy accidents are all over the place with code art. It's pretty amazing. I'll show you a couple. But there's always this idea where you're accidentally inverting a number, or you put sine inside instead of cosine, and it just blows it up, inverts it, changes it, makes it a whole new piece. And you're like, all right, cool. That's basically a fork. I'm going to walk down that road. We're going to explore this. Happy accidents, chance, serendipity. It's all over the place with code art. So an example of copy is, really should not have done this on this page. Give me 1 sec. I'm so sorry. I hate this. So hold on. My displays are not working. We're going to do some live demos. And this is going to be scary. Okay. So here we are. Here we go. Okay, so you just gonna put that just right down over here. So the idea of copying, totally fine. So this is by Tiffany Rayside. So this got bubbled up onto the front page of CodePen, and I saw this one day while I was doing my project, and I thought, this is really cool. I want to play with this idea of rotation that's sort of off-center and layering it and making it fun. So she did hers in Canvas, and I ended up copying it, basically, doing it all in CSS. And it was fun. I sort of had a path that I could walk down. I could play with it, figured out how it worked. Boom. Copy. Done. The idea of now that I can take this, learn about off-center rotation, this idea of layering these circles, walk down a different path, learn something different. Change. I came up with this idea. This is a little bit of serendipity right here. But these are just box shadows for 62 divs that are layered on top of each other and animating over time. It gives it this really fun, painterly feel. And then a couple days later, I just went back and sort of explored the same box shadow animation idea over time and ended up with this. So it's essentially the same code base, but it's just explored in a different way and just trying out a bunch of different things. So copy, change, chance. This is a fun one. I was laying in bed working on my project. I had this. I was like, oh, cool. I really like this circle thing that I got here. And then I ended up, I was trying to type a different number. I think I was trying to center this in a different way. So there's this 10 here. I don't know if you can see this. Can I zoom in? Can I do this? Yeah, there it is. Oh, I'm actually looking at it here. So this radius 10, what happens when I accidentally turn that to a 1? This. It's just it just pops out. I saw this, I was like, okay, cool, project done. Day done. I didn't need to explore it anymore. That serendipitous moment made it so much more fun and visually interesting and three-dimensional that it was actually kind of a shocking moment. I actually put it aside to talk about it with other people later. So this idea of just accidentally changing an easing equation or inverting a number, or changing a factor or something is amazing. Leave this page. There's another C that I didn't tell you about, combine. So this is the fourth C of Creative Code, but it's basically the idea of taking all three, copy, change, and chance, putting them together, using them in the same way. So this is Charlie Deck, Big Blue Boo on Tumblr. He does a lot of really great processing sketches. This is a processing sketch. And I saw it, and I really loved the movement and the gradients, and so I decided I want to copy it, change it, and hopefully there will be a little bit of chance to actually make it really interesting. So I ended up coming up with, on day 10, this thing, this wavy guy. So essentially, I can come in here, change the number of waves. Let's like make the amplitude a little bit less, well, 40 or a little bit more. Change that. Change the waves to 6. Oh, not 16. 6. And we'll just call that good, just for like a demo. So essentially, this is what you guys just saw, but copied, changed a little bit, sort of put into more of my aesthetic of like a longer, flatter idea, and had a great time doing that. Leave this page. And then, so that was day 10. Day 36 rolls around. I decided I'm going to go back and try and explore that idea a little bit more. So I started like pulling out this idea of this wave, and so this is what I had. It's day 36, so I decided to like start playing with how these things are layered, offset, animated. Came up with this. I was like, this is all right, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for today on day 36. So I put it aside, came back 20 days. I came back basically on day 56, and I just started coming in here. I was playing with some of these pieces. And normally, what I would have done was copy live demos. You guys are hungry. I can hear it. You can hear a bunch of rumbling tummies. I built this, and I don't know where anything is in it. Oh, we're going to call this good. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, we're going to put this in the oven, baking show style. We're going to say, cool, and I ended up with this. Basically, through a little bit of, basically I was going to show you, I sort of inverted a number and ended up with this really fun ribbony effect. This is it. Ta-da! Again, you can like check these out. These are all going to be up online. But so this fourth C, this combine of taking all these different pieces and putting them together and really exploring and having a great time. So that's it. That's the 4 C's. We're going to get out of here, except for one last section, as you can see, the swear word that you guys have been curious what this is. Who's seen me talk and knows what the swear word is? Yell it. Oh, come on. I know some of your talk is homework. This is a swear word amongst a lot of people, so we're talking about a little bit of homework. Art. I want you guys to go make art. And here are some really easy options of how to sort of get started in there. These are quick and simple, maybe 2 hours of your time at most. Do them this weekend. Do them in the next week. Let me know. I'd love to know that you're doing this. First one is go to CodePen and fork something. This is easy. You've got a lot of really good options on CodePen. They bubble things that are really great up to the surface, fork them, change them, explore them. Look at my stuff. Look at Gregor's stuff. Just sort of like go in there, find something that you like visually, change it, explore it, and try different things with it. Get into it. Option number 2. If you're from Portland or within Portland-ish area, you should come to Portland Creative Coders. I co-organize a group of language agnostic creative coders where we get together all the time and do workshops and jam sessions and show and tells where we're just like making weird, fun stuff with code with no purpose other than just making fun, cool, weird stuff with code. You should definitely come to Portland Creative Coders. Just look for it online. Or if you're not from Portland, find a local meetup, Creative Code meetup. Go to a JavaScript or CSS meetup and start talking about code and art, and you'll find your people there. Look around the room. These are your people. Everybody that's actually paying attention. These are the people you can talk to about this sort of stuff. Or just start a creative code group. If you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of this stuff going on, do what I did. Find some really fun people. Build a community around it. All right. I have 1 minute left, but I'm going to do this really quick. Option number 3. I'm launching a new side project today. Are you guys ready? Okay. I have a lot of side projects, but this is my newest, latest, greatest one. It's called a lonely square. Ooh, what does that mean? Okay, a lonely square is this idea of one square, a black square, surrounded by a field of white. And this square can do anything it wants as long as it returns back to a single black square in the field of white. What does that look like? It doesn't look like that. That's a terrible example. So it's this idea where you take this black square, animate it, change it, transform it, make it do anything you want, but then have it come back. And the idea is you're all going to make this stuff. We're going to string it all together. There's a website up for it right now. You're going to hashtag it. I'm going to download it. We're going to put it all together in this streaming endless loop of really fun code animations. And that's it. We're going to make a really fun project together. So I'm launching this today. Nobody knows about this except for you guys in this room. A lonely square. Hopefully you guys make something cool, and we can put it all together. Thank you guys very much. I'm John Brown. This is where you can find the slides. And let's go eat some lunch.